All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're bringing you a highly efficient, visually driven explainer that is literally all about transforming your health from the inside out. We're going to unpack the actual science of inflammation, and honestly, we'll show you how your fork is quite possibly the most powerful medical tool you own. And the best part, we are going to capture the absolute essentials of this book in English in 8 minutes or less, distilling all that critical, life-changing info so you can put it to work right away.
So the foundation for today's explainer is the book Anti-Inflammatory Diet for Dummies, 2nd edition. It's written by Dr. Artemis and award-winning writer Morry. We're going to rapidly unpack the brilliant insights from their work to understand exactly how the food sitting on your plate right now acts as either powerful medicine or a hidden trigger for chronic pain and disease.
Think about this for a second. Could your daily diet actually be turning your immune system against you? It's a pretty provocative thought, right? I mean, we usually think of our immune system as our personal bodyguard. But under the wrong conditions, which are very often created by what we're eating, that bodyguard can actually get confused and totally go rogue. To understand how that happens, we first need to get a handle on what inflammation actually is.
Okay, so let's break down your body's defense mechanisms. You basically have two main types of immunity running the show. First up is your innate immunity. This is the system you were born with. It includes your general barriers and, crucially, your inflammatory responses. Then you've got your acquired immunity, which is the stuff you develop over your lifetime to target really specific invaders, like the chickenpox virus or a common cold. Now, the absolute most important takeaway here is that inflammation itself is not the villain. Actually, scratch that. It's a crucial, completely natural part of your innate immune system. When you get a cut or catch a bug, your body triggers that inflammatory response. It sends fluid, white blood cells, and chemicals to the area to protect you from infection and kickstart the healing process. Honestly, without inflammation, we wouldn't survive a minor paper cut.
But here is where things go wrong. The authors of our source material use this incredible analogy that just hits the nail on the head. Imagine a mosquito lands on your living room wall. You want to get rid of it, right? But instead of using a rolled-up magazine, you swing a baseball bat at it as hard as you can. I mean, sure, you might get the mosquito, but you've just smashed a massive hole in your own wall. That is exactly what happens when your immune system misfires. It senses a threat, maybe triggered by a food sensitivity or an environmental toxin, and it completely overreacts, attacking your body's normal, perfectly healthy tissue.
So the real problem is what happens when that immune system literally forgets how to turn itself off. When the body stays in this constant, buzzing state of alert, it creates what researchers call low-grade inflammation. If you get blood work done, this usually shows up as elevated C-reactive proteins. And this self-perpetuating cycle? It's disastrous. The source directly links this chronic low-grade inflammation to severe long-term diseases. We're talking atherosclerosis, diabetes, cancer, autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, and even neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's and multiple sclerosis. This constant internal battle actually creates free radicals that just damage your cells over time.
So how do we translate all this science into what we actually eat? Well, it's a pretty stark contrast. You have foods that act like throwing gasoline on that internal fire. Things packed with omega-6 oils like corn and safflower oil, refined sugars, processed meats like hot dogs, and of course, fried foods. Then you have your fire extinguishers. These are the anti-inflammatory foods that are just loaded with antioxidants and phytochemicals to clean up all that free radical damage. Think omega-3 fatty acids from wild-caught salmon and sardines, potent spices like ginger and turmeric, big plates of organic greens, and lean proteins. It's incredibly satisfying when you realize that taking control of your health is largely just about shifting your daily choices from the gasoline category over to the fire extinguishers.
Now, if you're the kind of person who likes a structured plan to make that shift, our source highlights a couple of specific diets that naturally fight this inflammation. First up is the ketogenic diet. By heavily cutting out carbohydrates and sugars, you're eliminating massive inflammatory triggers right off the bat. Plus, you put your body into ketosis, producing compounds called ketones, which have been actively proven to fight inflammation. Alternatively, a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle is another incredible tool. By focusing entirely on plant-based foods, you're basically flooding your system with the exact antioxidants needed to repair cellular damage. Plus, it typically lowers your caloric intake, which helps reduce obesity. And that's another major trigger for chronic inflammation.
But hold on, because here is a major warning. It isn't just about what you eat, it is entirely about how you prepare it. You could go out and buy the most beautiful, expensive, organic, anti-inflammatory piece of fish, but if you drop it in a deep fryer, you have literally just destroyed its benefits. No way around it. The authors explicitly warn that high-heat cooking methods, especially frying, broiling, and yes, even microwaving, can completely destroy the vital nutrients in your food. To keep those anti-inflammatory properties intact, you really need to shift to gentler cooking methods. Think steaming, baking, and poaching.
Quick side note here, and it's super important. As you begin to eliminate bad foods, you absolutely have to remember one crucial rule: strike the right nutritional balance. A major part of an anti-inflammatory diet is addressing things like leaky gut syndrome or specific food allergies by cutting out whatever triggers you. But if you yank an inflammatory food group out of your diet, you have got to replace those lost nutrients. The source notes that common deficiencies during an elimination diet include vitamin B12, zinc, and iron. So just be mindful to replace those through healthy alternative foods or really high-quality supplements.
Which leads us to a pretty obvious question. How do you know exactly what is triggering your unique immune system? Well, you need to personalize this approach. Consulting a naturopathic physician or a specialist to identify your specific hidden food allergies is a total game changer. For example, many people dealing with autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's thyroiditis or psoriatic arthritis have an underlying sensitivity to gluten. By working with a doctor to find and remove that specific dietary trigger, patients often see drastic, life-changing reductions in pain and inflammation naturally, sometimes without even needing heavy pharmaceuticals.
So, let's look at the big picture. Why do all of this? Why clean out the pantry, change how you cook, and hunt down your food sensitivities? Because the long-term benefits are just incredibly empowering. By putting out that low-grade inflammation, you aren't just avoiding disease, you are actively optimizing your body. The source highlights that an anti-inflammatory lifestyle can literally make you feel happier, keep your mind sharp by protecting your neurotransmitters, drastically lower your risk of heart disease, naturally decrease your cholesterol, help you lose stubborn weight, and even improve fertility. You're finally giving your body the calm, peaceful environment it needs to thrive, instead of forcing it to constantly fight a war against its own dinner.
Which brings us to the most important question we have for you today. Are you ready to stop feeding the fire? Every single meal is a choice. You can either fan the flames of inflammation, or you can cool your system down so it can finally heal. The power is completely 100% on your plate. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to In 8 Minutes and never miss what matters.